1,000 horsepower S2 sports a larger radiator shutter opening than the 660 horsepower S1. The reason for the difference? A turbocharger, which also explains the S2's fat, oblong-based stack. Livonia, Avon, and Lakeville number 72 was once South Buffalo number 72, built in 1941 and acquired by LA&L in 1978. Livonia, Avon, and Lakeville began service in 1964 when local investors bought the about-to-be-abandoned Erie-Lackawanna branch from Avon to Livonia, New York. Here we see number 72 switching a NutraSweet plant near the railroad's headquarters in Lakeville. More hard-working S2s belong to Ohi-rail, an Ohio-based short line started in 1982. These two units haul freight on a part of the old New York Central branch line between Minerva and Hopedale, Ohio.
The two Alcos are ex-Fairport, Paynesville, and Eastern FP&E Alcos. We acquired those Alcos in 1984 when the Norfolk Southern took over the FP&E. There was 5 of those Alcos at that time that went up for sale. We got the 101 and 102. And we put those Alcos in service in 1984. They're a vintage 1945, 1946 Alco S2. They have a 539 McIntosh Seymour power plant, which is an outstanding prime mover. And those Alcos have been an excellent, perfect engine for Ohi-rail. The old story about the 539 Alco, and it goes for every one of them that probably has ever made, there's always something wrong with them, but they'll never fail to perform. And they are a very forgiving piece of equipment, and very rugged, very rough, good pullers. They have what they call the blunt, B-L-O-U-N-T trucks, and we have some very rough track here. And, one of the reasons why we have such a low derailment ratio is, we think, because of the blunt trucks and the slow speed and the carefulness of the crew. Very much a fan of the Alco switchers, but the Alco is pretty hard to beat them.
Ohi-rail also operates a former Pennsylvania Railroad branch from Bayard through Minerva to Pekin, Ohio. It connects with the Wheeling and Lake Erie at Hopedale and Minerva, and with the Norfolk Southern at Bayard. The S4 is identical to the S2 in every respect but one. It rides on Type A switcher trucks instead of blunt trucks. The former Santa Fe unit, DuPont S4 1518, switches outside DuPont's plant at Antioch, California in November 1998. Located next to Burlington Northern Santa Fe's former Santa Fe main line between Oakley and Antioch, DuPont used rail service extensively until it closed in November 1998. As defined by former Trains editor David P. Morgan, first-generation diesels are those that directly replaced steam engines in the 1940s and 1950s. This Adirondack Railroad RSC-2, for example, likely replaced the steam engine for its original owner, Seaboard Airlines. One of 68 RSC-2s built between 1946 and 1950, it rides on weight-saving A1A trucks that lack a powered center axle. This unit is essentially a lengthened RS2 and puts out the same horsepower, 1,500. An early example of a first-generation diesel is Alcos' 1,000 horsepower RS1. The RS1 is basically an S2 and a short hood mounted on a lengthened underframe. The short hood could, and often did, house a steam generator for passenger service. In place of the S2's blunt trucks, the RS1 rides on Type B road trucks, the same trucks you'll see on the RS3 and four-motor Centuries later in the show. Built between 1941 and 1960, Alcos' RS1 is the first North American road switcher diesel locomotive, beating rival EMD's GP7 by 8 years. Alcos' answer to multitasking, the RS1 could A, switch a yard, B, halt commuter or branch line passenger trains, and C, do local freight service, all in the same day, all without breaking stride. One of 397 RS1s built, Livonia, Avon, and Lakeville No. 20 is a former Lake Erie, Franklin, and Clarion unit built in 1949. It came to LA&L in 1972. As designed, the long hood is in the front. The RS3 and its near twin, the RS2, raised the bet placed by Alco with the RS1. Like the other 1,369 RS3s built, Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad number 4099 uses a 12-cylinder 244 engine. Rated at 1,600 horsepower, the 244 supplanted the 539 engine used in the RS1 and the other S-Series switchers seen in this show. Originally a Delaware and Hudson unit, 4099 came out of Alco in 1952 and arrived on the CVSR in 1989.
The RS2 particularly had a rounded cab contour, not only from on the rounded top as you look at it from the front, but also as you look at it from the side. There were no sharp corners on the RS2 cab, and the hoods were rounded very nicely. It was as if it had been carved out of a piece of wood or soap.
Battenkill's two RS3s split their time between excursion and freight service. The railroad began operations in 1982 over 35 miles of state-owned trackage that once belonged to D&H and its subsidiary, the Greenwich and Johnsonville. Although Battenkill has an enclosed engine facility, repairs can be made on the road. Here, the unit sits on the main line near a gravel road. A repair crew then drives in to fix a minor brake problem. With the engineer's dog aboard, the two-person train crew heads off to work.